When it comes to wisdom, we give age way more credit than it deserves. The older generation sometimes criticizes the younger generation's ideas for not aligning with tradition. And in return, the younger generation criticizes older perspectives for lacking innovation. This inherent paradox creates a scenario that's very challenging to navigate because meaningful contributions are often met with unwanted generational criticism. Nobody can win. All right, so it's 1:30 a.m. I'm sitting deeper, sinking into the couch, hunched over my laptop, writing a supplemental essay that I am hoping and praying will earn me admission into my reach schools. All right, can you raise your hand if you've ever been through the college admissions process? Okay, so we all know the stress, the mental fatigue, the exhaustion that comes when submitting those applications. But somehow, through all of those emotions, a profound sentence emerged in paragraph 3 of the essay that I was writing. The essay detailing my life as a teenage entrepreneur, somebody who's been both the inspirer and the inspired. The sentence reads, "Those tears taught me what it means to be intergenerationally inspirational." Now, let's dissect this phrase, intergenerational inspiration, because if you accept these 3 pillars that I'm about to present to you, I promise that paradox that I mentioned in the beginning is going to vanish. So now we're talking about intergenerational inspiration. It would be remiss for me to not include all of you in the conversation because this is an audience of different ages. So while I'm presenting these pillars, I'm going to need you to repeat after me. Number 1, your story is more than enough.
Your story is more than enough.
Number 2, your age is an asset.
Your age is an asset.
And number 3, your impact is unpredictable.
Your impact is unpredictable.
Perfect. So in 2018, at age 13, I founded a nonprofit organization with the mission to motivate all children, but especially children of color, to read more diverse literature. We also created an online and pop-up bookstore where all of the books were written by and or featuring people of color. And the best part about it is that I got to spend my teenage years going around the state, setting up pop-up events, and by the time I graduated from high school, my organization and I were able to distribute over 6,000 diverse children's books in 250 unique titles. So in July of 2021, I was hosting a pop-up event. And it was like any other regular day. A woman walked up to the table, started browsing the book display, and soon she was in tears. Now, I was confused because it's books. Everybody likes books. Why are we crying? But soon she explained to me that she too had started her own business several years before, but had given up on herself. And seeing me, a 16-year-old who was boldly chasing her dreams, reignited her ambitions. In fact, she told me that she said to herself, if this 16-year-old can go after what she wants, then how can I not do the same? So I usually interacted with little kids who thought that reading was cool because I, a teenager, said it was. Now, I don't know about you, but we all know that little kid to teenager dynamic, and I really liked it. I like being a role model, it's fun. But I never expected to change the life of an adult. That was powerful. Those tears taught me what it means to be intergenerationally inspirational. Your story is more than enough. You may not impact 1 million people on your first try, and maybe one day you will, but what I know for sure is that we're all experts in at least one thing: our stories. So it's our responsibility to share them with the world because we never know if a part of our experience could impact somebody else's life. And in the same breath, we need to be observant and perceptive of the stories of others because we don't know if a piece of their puzzle is going to put our life on a better trajectory. Which leads me into pillar number 2. But before we get there, I'm going to need you to do something for me. On the count of 3, I want you to shout your age as loud as you can. All right? 1, 2, 3.
51.
No, don't be shy. Don't be shy. I saw some of you. You need to shake it out, all right? We're going to try again. 1, 2, 3.
51.
So the reason why I had you do that is because your age is an asset. It's not something to be ashamed of. Growing up in my home for the first 16 years of my life, I lived with Mama. Mama, I knew her in her 80s and 90s. She was old. But although she passed in 2020, her legacy in my house will never leave. Mama's age, though significant, was not a barrier. It was a source of inspiration. Although she occasionally was very grumpy, I looked beyond the surface to see a beautiful woman and caretaker who was simply grappling with the realities of aging. And Mama's life taught me so many important lessons that I still carry to this day. For example, asking for help when you need it. The second one is making sure that I have a positive outlook on situations, even if they're out of my control. And Mama's life and experiences didn't just impact me personally, but after she passed, I started reflecting, and it was able to leave a significant effect on my professional life as well. I not only started to harness the power of delegation, and shout out to my mom because she was giving me the advice for years, okay? She was telling me you need to find somebody where you can replicate yourself, where you can make a bigger impact. And after reflecting on Mama's life, I finally started to do it. I was also able to work better in group situations and team settings because I knew that sometimes I do need to lean on somebody else to reach the greater goal. And most importantly, I was able to focus on solving problems based on controllable factors, something that all of us can benefit from, I'm sure. Unfortunately, a lot of people diminish the advice and insights of older people because they feel like their words aren't relevant in our contemporary world. But I can tell you, after living with an octogenarian for several years, there's a lot that you can learn. And I really appreciate Mama's presence in my life because it turned everything around for the better. Timeless lessons exist in every generation, and we can't forget that. Which leads me to tell you a little story about the time I was humbled by a 4-year-old. Was it fun? No, but it was important. I have a little cousin, we're gonna call him Adam, and he is one of the calmest children that you've ever met when it comes to challenging situations. His demeanor when confronted with something that frustrates him inspires me. There was one time he came over to my house, and I don't remember what I was freaking out about, but he came up to me and he held my hands and he said, "Ssanyu, what can help you chill out?" And I was like, how are you gonna tell me about chilling out? I'm almost an adult. But then I realized this little kid is calmer than I am. He had more control over his emotions than I did at 17 years old. And I'm so grateful for that experience because now when I'm dealing with problems and I'm dealing with situations, I get to remember that not everything has to become a crisis. That's very important when you're not only a business owner, but a college student too. Because I can tell you, there are a lot of things that can push you to the edge. And now, on to number 3. Your impact is unpredictable. So it's Read Across America Day in 2022, and I had returned to my previous elementary school to host a storytime reading of my first children's book. This was great because one thing I had implemented in my storytime events was a kindness ambassador program, where I would task the teachers with choosing 2 students in their class which exemplified kindness, respect, and inclusion as a positive reinforcement idea for the students. So I called up one of the 2nd graders to receive her certificate, and she said something that reminded me why I was there in the first place. First, she didn't hesitate to give me a tight hug. It was tight, she was a strong girl. But then afterwards, she looked me right in my eyes, and she said, "Seeing somebody like you, who looks like me, and who's written a book so young, makes me feel like I can write a book too." Now, that moment took me aback because people had been saying this for a long time and that it was inspiring and that it was nice and it was great, but to hear it from a little 8-year-old girl who sat in the same auditorium that I had, not even 10 years earlier, was so powerful that it reminded me about the importance of the idea that your impact is unpredictable. I came there just to share my story, to share my book, and I may have planted a seed in that little girl to change the world. I have no idea if she's going to grow up to be the next big author or if she's even going to write a book one day. But what I do know is that in that moment, she felt like she could. And that's what truly matters. All of us have that power. All of us have a story. All of us have an impact. And it's our job to share that with the world. Because guess what? Nobody has the same story as you. I can tell you from personal experience that I am a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a student. I'm somebody who really loves The Office. I will say that. But most importantly, I am a lifelong learner. And taking into account the idea of intergenerational inspiration and marrying that with the mentality of being a lifelong learner can change your entire outlook on life. So I need you to repeat after me because I want you to walk away with one thing today, and that's the responsibility of having a conversation with one person who's in a different generation from you. Now, guess what? I'm going to help you out. I have these little booklets that I created by hand to be your intergenerational inspiration journals that I want you to carry with you when you have these conversations, because it is intentional. To learn intentionally is a powerful thing, and that's what these journals will help you do. So, please repeat after me. I promise to change the nation by being a lifelong learner and using intergenerational inspiration. One more time. I need some energy, okay? I promise to change the nation by being a lifelong learner and using intergenerational inspiration. So, your story is more than enough. Remember that when you're talking to others and when you're interacting with the world. Your age is an asset, so be on the lookout for the mamas in your life, the Adams in your life, the people who you may not think can contribute that much, but can actually change everything for the better. And your impact is unpredictable. Some small interaction, some little sentence that you can say can change everything, not just for you, but for the people around you. So when you walk out of this room, I want you to learn. I want you to grow. I want you to be perceptive. And most importantly, I want you to inspire. Thank you.